I want to first focus on the Taj. Should the Taj Mahal be left out of any kind of politics? Why is the Taj being dragged into the politics? Let's move straight to our talking point. Joining me now, distinguished historian Mushirul Hasan is with me in the studio. I'm also joined by Gaurav Bhatia of the Samajwadi Party, Sudhanshu Mittal of the BJP and Sudhindra Baduria of the BSP. I want to come to you, Gaurav Bhatia, straight. You're the man in the spot today. Your leader is saying that please hand over the Taj Mahal, national monument, to the Waqf board. Allow prayers there 5 times a day. It's a mausoleum. Do you believe that this is the kind of statement a senior leader should be making?
Rajdeep, I heard you saying that there shouldn't be any politics over Taj. And I agree with you that there should be no politics over Taj. Mr. Azam Khan had made a statement yesterday which the media was playing, and today when he was asked the same question, he clearly said that Taj belongs to everyone and it's a national monument.
So he seems to have changed in 24 hours. Mr. Azam Khan 24 hours ago was saying that this is a mausoleum, it should be handed to the Waqf board, prayers should be allowed 5 times a day, and all the money that is collected from tourism to the Taj should be handed to the Waqf board. Something seems to have changed if he suddenly now believes it's a national monument.
Let me come to the second point, Rajdeep. He is raising a point that the funds that are generated from, the monument, the Taj, should be utilized for upliftment of the deprived community. And I think that there are genuine concerns that the state government has. Just last week, Mr. Akhilesh Yadav had written to the Prime Minister saying that there are certain concerns of security, of queues for ticketing, which is a lot of inconvenience for the visitors, and also making the area green. The state government has been acting on it, but since it comes under the ASI and central government, the central government has not paid heed to it. So I think there is a larger question.
There is no larger question, sir. Sir, those are different issues. Those are different issues. Security at the Taj is a different issue. This seems to be clearly an attempt being made to, in a sense, cater to a section of his vote bank in a manner where...
I will make a very candid confession, if you allow me to, which is very relevant.
Yes.
That the matter relating to Taj, whether it should be a Waqf property or not, I think Mr. Bhadoria today pointed out, and he's correct, even I had those details, is being heard by the Supreme Court of India.
Yes.
So I think, this is something that I will also bring to the notice of the leadership within the party.
So you concede that your leader was out of line. You concede that Mr. Azam Khan should have avoided making the kind of statement he did.
I am not, please don't put words in my mouth, Rajdeep. I am saying that as a responsible person, as a lawyer and as a citizen and as a party person, it is my duty to bring to notice the correct facts, and I will do that because it is a matter pending. We are not like the BJP. When the matter is pending before the Supreme Court, it is sub judice. We will say that Ram Temple would be built. We are not like that. And I have no qualms in saying that I will act in a responsible manner. This is something which is relevant.
Because let's be honest, Gaurav Bhatia, the real challenge is for the existing Waqf properties to be better used. There are vast Waqf properties across the country that haven't been used in the way that they should. The Samajwadi Party, rather than focus on that, is simply playing to the gallery today.
No,
Azam Khan loves to play to the gallery.
Not correct.
The fact is, Azam Khan loves to play to the gallery.
I will answer that. Mr. Azam Khan, as the minister of that department, has taken immense efforts, and he has ensured that separate funds are given to Waqf boards, and the property of the Waqf board is made free. So that Rajdeep, I think factually those details are not available with you. I can always give those details to show you how the Waqf department has worked for the betterment of Waqf boards, their property which were taken over by certain people, and people with dubious backgrounds have been freed from their hands.
Can I take that to Sudhanshu Mittal and come back to the issue you raised? Sudhanshu Mittal, you heard what Gaurav Bhatia saying. Fact is, Supreme Court in its order of December 2005 had stayed the Sunni Waqf Board's order declaring the Taj Mahal a Waqf property. The Archaeological Survey of India then challenged that order at the time. It's still before the courts. Do you believe that the best thing that politicians across the spectrum, BJP, Samajwadi Party, BSP, anyone, should simply keep the Taj out of politics? The Taj is a national monument. It's not anyone's personal property, neither Azam Khan's or anyone else's.
I don't think there can be a debate about the status of Taj. I think it's a jewel in the crown of India. A monument which is a integral part of the identity of India.
Yes.
And to bring it down to such a controversial level of claiming it to be a Waqf board property, or that the proceeds of it should be given to the Waqf board for spending, I think it is deplorable. It only reflects the priorities which the UP government or its ministers have. But as far as Mr. Azam Khan is concerned, I don't think we should be surprised by the statement he's made, because all what he does is to make outlandish statements just to be news. He just wants to outrage the sensibility of people.
Gaurav Bhatia, do respond. No, hold on, Sudhanshu. Gaurav Bhatia, respond to that, because the statements by their nature are outlandish. Today he has said, when asked about the celebration that Mulayam Singh Yadav is having for his 75th birthday, he sarcastically remarked, "I'm getting the money from Dawood Ibrahim and the Taliban." It seems that Azam Khan thrives on controversy. You remember during the elections, he seemed to suggest that the sacrifices made on the Kargil mountains were made by Muslim soldiers. Now, why do you need to make statements that you know will provoke controversy? It does no credit to your party. It does no credit to the community.
Rajdeep, you can ask me any question that you want and I am prepared to answer those. But Mr. Sudhanshu Mittal taking a high moral ground when Giriraj Singh, Mr. Yogi Adityanath, Mr. Lakshmikant Bajpai talk about Shuddhikaran, love jihad and Hindu Rashtra, I think does not augur very well. And I am not here to, answer questions raised by Mr. Sudhanshu Mittal. But at the same time, you were talking about Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav's birthday being celebrated. Before I leave this discussion, I would like to raise a larger point that the funds that are being utilized for the celebration are funds of the Samajwadi Party and of the Samajwadi Party workers. There is no misuse of public exchequer.
So the party, the Socialist Party, the People's Party now has enough funds to stage a grand spectacle. You're saying the Samajwadi Party is paying this money out of...
I have not completed myself. Just allow me 2 minutes, because I think
you said it's a Samajwadi Party. Does Samajwad allow these kind of grand birthday celebrations? Is this part of Samajwad?
Yes. The question is, what are we celebrating today? We are celebrating the birthday of a person who has given 55 years as a public person, and he has fought for the downtrodden, he has fought for socialism, and he has celebrated 74 birthdays which is with his close friends. Never there has been a celebration on his birthday. If all the party workers came together to celebrate this special day for what all he has done for the nation and for the society, I don't think
you used to criticize Mayawati's extravagant ways. You used to criticize Mayawati's extravagant ways. Now you're using the same kind of birthday celebration. Mulayam in a buggy.
I want to show the distinction, because she was misusing public funds. There was a garland.
May I also come in this debate when
from
black money, and she unnecessarily dragged into this debate.
Crores in parks and in statues in the 5 years that she was the chief minister. So I think wastage of public funds is a different question which you should be raising, and the BJP should also answer.
Can I say something?
I'm going to ask
ceremonies.
I'm going to ask one question each. I'm going to ask a question each to both the BJP. Just a minute. Just a minute. No cross talk, Mr. Bhaduria. I'm going to ask a question to each of you. First to you, Mr. Bhaduria. Today, when you are criticizing a Mulayam Singh, for example, over his birthday, the fact is Mayawati's birthday, according to Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, was celebrated out of state exchequer. He is claiming this is money of the Samajwadi Party. That's the difference, first of all. How do you respond to that? Or when it comes to birthdays today, every political party likes to make a statement. The bigger the birthday celebration, the happier they seem to feel.
I thought this debate was on the statement of Azam Khan. However, I will respond to the question that you have raised. But first I will respond to the debate which
first you respond to this and I'll come back to the Taj question. I want a quick, because you wanted to respond to what was said by Gaurav Bhatia.
Of course, I am coming to that. I will
please start
answer
with
the entire thing in totality. Yeah, I will answer the entire thing in totality, because Shri Mulayam Singh Yadav represents a certain ideology which he professes that he is a follower of Ram Manohar Lohia, which is a complete farce. Lohia would have never allowed a thing of this kind. Yes, I will come to that. I am coming now to Mayawati. Mayawati's money. Mayawati never brought buggies of.
No, Mayawati spent 11,000 crores on parks and statues.
Mayawati never brought buggies of
losing life.
Can you stop the cross talk?
Extorted from him.
Mayawati never represented.
Mr. Bhadoria is not getting that.
Can we stop the cross talk?
No, hold on. I'm going to ask my producer because we don't want cross talk. So, no cross talk on News Today at 9 has no cross talk. So, sorry, sir.
That he's celebrating his 75th birthday.
Okay.
He celebrates every year
What is happening
in
here?
Sefai. Not only does the birthday celebration take all kind of celebration from Sunny Leone
Bhadoria ji
to
has
all
not
those
answered
people,
the question you
belly
asked him,
dancers,
Mr.
and
Okay.
to kind of
Rajiv,
things
he
that
didn't answer
Rajiv, can I say something now?
Okay, I'm going to for a moment. I don't want to make it SP versus BSP. Let me return then once again to the Taj question. You know, Sudhanshu Mittal, before I come to Mushirul Hasan to give us a historical perspective, your BJP president of UP, Lakshmikant Bajpai, said Taj Mahal was initially a temple. My worry is that Taj is getting caught in an unnecessary
Yes,
political
absolutely.
controversy. Why should the Taj Mahal be caught in this kind of controversy? Your leader also says Taj was initially a temple. These are the kind of outlandish statements that seem to reflect the misplaced priorities of UP politicians. Azam Khan makes some statements and the BJP makes similarly outlandish statements.
I don't think these are comparable. First, let me give a fact which Mr. Bhatia doesn't seem to be knowing. 80% of the fund collected out of the tickets of Taj is handed over to the Agra Development Authority for it to spend. So, this money is already spent in UP. Secondly, I thought that the party would completely distance itself from this kind of a ridiculous statement, which is only aimed at communalizing every single issue which comes up in UP. Instead, look at the priorities. Instead of concentrating on the real-time issues like what? Employment, law and order, business, education. What is the priority? Call somebody a dog. Say the Kargil heroes were not Hindus but only Muslims. Say that Taj Mahal should be handed. And look, this seems to be a pattern in all this kind of a talk which is going on in UP, because they want to deflect the attention from the real-time issues which the people of UP are facing. I also want the entire community to please take cognizance of this fact that on behalf of the community, such ridiculous statements which are demeaning nationally important monuments are being made just to criminalize everything.
Okay, you make an important point. You make an important point that the Samajwadi Party is moving. Just a minute. You make an important point. Samajwadi Party is moving away from real issues, you are saying, and trying to communalize every issue available. Do you see it that way, Professor Mushirul Hasan? This entire issue of whether the Taj belongs to the Waqf Board has been raised in the past as well. But the manner in which politicians like Azam Khan seem to be raising it seem to suggest that they have a clear political agenda in somewhere or the other, claiming to represent the community and even communalizing a national monument like the Taj. Does it worry you as a historian?
Well, it does. I think it's
as a citizen, as a historian?
I think it's a very silly proposition, and it's a very unfortunate controversy that he has raised, because the Waqf Board has absolutely no claim over the Taj. Historically speaking, the Waqf Board has no claim over the Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal is a national monument. It is part of a national heritage, and that is how it should stay. You were quite right when you pointed out in your introductory remark that there is plenty of funds available with the Waqf Board, enormous amounts of funds, and those funds have been squandered. So the money that the Taj Mahal is able to raise should be actually spent on the upkeep of the monument itself. It does require large sums of money to keep it going. So
and should it be kept away from, you know, the UP politicians like Azam Khan almost seem to believe that they have a right over it. You know, if you look at the law itself, There's a legal grey area about the ownership of historical monuments like the Taj Mahal. Irfan Habib, historian quoted in Frontline, said, if the provisions of the Central Waqf Board are what the UP Sunni Central Waqf Board claims they are, then there is a need for a fresh parliamentary legislation to reconcile this Ancient Monuments Act with the Central Waqf Board Act, exclude protected monuments from the purview of the Waqf Act.
Yeah, quite right. I would go along with Professor.
So
Irfan
exclude all national monuments from the Waqf Act. You can today an Azam Khan claim that this was a mausoleum, that Shah Jahan wanted it to go to the Waqf board. Do you believe that these are arguments that are tenable?
No, these are completely untenable arguments. I mean, Shah Jahan did not buy it from the Waqf board. Shah Jahan did not bequeath it to the Waqf board. So what are we talking about? It has remained a national monument. It has been part of the archaeological list, listed in the Archaeological Survey of India, and its maintenance and upkeep has been the responsibility of the Archaeological Survey of India from the days of Curzon, Lord Curzon. So this whole claim is quite unjustified and quite unnecessary.
Do you also see it as Sudhanshu Mittal is suggesting that it is communal? That somewhere deep down in this, Azam Khan is claiming through this to represent, he seems to be catering to the worst kind of stereotype that maybe the majority community today has of minority group leaders, that they only represent interests of their own community and they will do anything to push that.
Well, if that is the case, then it's very unfortunate again, because the Samajwadi Party is seen as a secular party and its agenda is considered to be a secular agenda.
Has that secular agenda become a Muslims only agenda? Has that somewhere? The likes of Azam Khan today do not represent that secular agenda. They represent a Muslims only politics.
Well, I don't want
or
to
Muslims first politics.
I don't want to comment on an individual and his politics. In the specific case of this controversy, I think he has raised fears in certain quarters which are fairly justified. And I think for a senior politician like him, he'd do well, not to stir up such controversies in future.
But I'm just wondering, and Sudhindra Baduria, you're also a politician from the other major... Just a minute. Sudhindra Baduria, you're also a politician from the other major party of UP, and the feeling is that UP parties and UP politicians increasingly make outlandish statements, raise issues which are frankly not relevant to the average Muslim or the average Hindu on the streets of UP. They are not interested about the Taj Mahal debate, but Azam Khan will focus on that. They don't want their leaders necessarily to have these extravagant birthday celebrations that waste public expenditure, and yet Mulayam Singh does that. Are UP politicians, whether it's Mayawati or Mulayam, losing the plot? You don't focus on real issues. You build statues, you have birthday celebrations, you bring the Taj also into controversy.
I mean, as far as the Taj is concerned, we have not brought it into controversy. It was in 2013, Azam Khan himself said that the Taj Mahal should be razed to the ground because it represented a king's dreams which he wanted to fulfill for his queen. So, and a lot of money was squandered on it. So, Azam Khan has the habit of doing it. Insofar as the BSP is concerned, it is committed to the agenda of the Dalits, and it has shown over the years that it.
But you can't be committed by building statues.
Of its dream will continue.
It's not by building statues. Azam Khan reaches out to
pursuing of this agenda.
Let's be honest. It's one thing to talk of Dalit empowerment and build statues. Azam Khan talks of Muslim empowerment and then makes the kind of statements that he does.
Because in India there were no memorials being created. So a memorial was created in Lucknow and in Noida to commemorate to the memories of the great Dalit leaders like Baba Sahib, like Mahatma Phule, like Savitri Phule, and the likes of them.
And have Mayawati be there.
And similarly, this was in. That is why it is called the Dalit Memorial.
Let's be clear.
If this was done by the other political parties, we would have welcomed it. But they did not do it on the 65 years of independence.
Let's be clear. Sudhanshu Mittal, you're smiling through this program and trying to take the moral high ground. But let's be clear. It's not as if UP's politicians of the BJP have raised the kind of bread and butter and real-time issues that you are speaking of in this program. We've seen during the by-election that took place the kind of love jihad politics that was raised by Yogi Adityanath. The fact is UP's politicians don't like to speak of real issues. Azam Khan, Adityanath all typify this kind of politics which is being practiced in UP.
Rajdeep, what are we discussing today?
We are discussing the failure of our political class to focus on real issues, to make outlandish statements so that they get prime time space.
We have discussed all that in the past.
Yes.
Rajdeep, we have discussed that in the past. We are discussing a fresh move which has been made by a man keeping in view a communal agenda. I always say, Azam Khanji, if you want to represent the Muslim interest, please talk about the education of the Muslims. Please talk about the employment opportunities of the Muslims. Please talk about the business opportunities of the Muslims. Please talk about how to improve their lot. But no, he will talk about Muzaffarnagar. Let us take revenge about Muzaffarnagar. He will talk about Kargil, the Kargil heroes not being Hindus but only Muslims.
And your leaders will talk of love jihad.
Taj Mahal.
And your leaders will talk of love jihad. He talks outlandish issues. Your leaders talk of love jihad, and the ordinary life of the UPI doesn't change.
See, I think this nation needs to move beyond all this. The last election has clearly demonstrated that as far as the people's aspirations are concerned, they want development, they want good governance, they are looking for a better future. They have moved beyond caste, beyond religion, beyond language and beyond region. And that's the new politics. And that's the new politics which this nation will practice. No matter what Mr. Azam Khan may say, what Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav may say, or what my friend Mr. Bhadoria may talk about Ms. Mayawati.
Okay.
The symbolism of having these statues of her own holding a purse may be very inspiring to him. But the nation and the people of UP are looking for something different.
It also includes Giriraj Singh.
Okay, hold on.
It may include anybody. That's not the issue.
Every political...
What is the new politics?
Let's be clear. Hold on.
Let's have a serious debate. The new politics is the politics of good administration, politics of hope, politics of delivery, politics of performance. And that is what will rule the country.
Can I just look at this, Mushirul Hasan? Every political party seems to have their Azam Khans on one side, their Giriraj Singhs and their Aditya Naths on the other. Every political party has leaders who seem to thrive on making outlandish statements. It gets them prime time coverage. We are covering it here on News Today at 9.
Sure.
And it seems to conform to a stereotype. Do you worry that particularly in states like UP, politicians still don't talk about the real issues, the Bijli Sadak Pani issues? In a way, Narendra Modi won UP in the 2014 elections by talking about those issues. But the politicians of UP don't seem to have read the message. Why? What is it? Why are they not able to emerge from the politics of communalism, the politics of outlandish statements? Taj belongs to the Waqf board. Someone says love jihad. Why are they unable to move out from this political trap in your view?
I think you're absolutely right. I think this reflects the general malaise in UP society in particular, where in a larger context of things, development has never been anybody's agenda.
Not even and yet they get re-elected, and yet the Azam Khans keep getting re-elected.
Well, that's because of caste, and that's because of communitarian sentiments that are heightened and so on. But in the larger frame, you will see that UP continues to remain backward, that industrialization has virtually not taken place. Levels of literacy are very, very low. So generally, it is one of the most populous but the most backward of states in India. And I think part of the reason is that the political parties have not paid attention to development projects, have not considered the fact that UP needs a special impetus for it to serve the interests of its population.
I take your point. Clearly, the likes of Azam Khan are only doing disservice in that sense to UP. Yes, final word, 10 seconds. Yes, 10 seconds only, please.
Yeah. The people of UP have voted for development, be it in 2012, when they voted for Akhilesh, they voted for a new hope of good governance. It's the polity of UP which is misreading the minds of UP people.
Okay.
The people, Mr. Musharraf was talking about the society. No, the society is not looking at these smaller boundaries. It's looking at governance, it's looking at development.
No, those are all fine words now.
It's the polity of UP, which does not seem to be recognized.
Sir, your party made Aditya Nath the star campaigner during the by-elections. If what you are saying is true, what you are saying, no. Azam Khan and Aditya Nath to many are two sides of the same coin. They represent two sides of the same coin. But we can debate that on another day. Sudhanshu Mittal, Sudhindra Bhadoria, Mushirul Hasan and Gaurav Bhatia, appreciate your joining us. Where do we stand? My take on Azam Khan. Azam Khan's remarks on the